college football, I want to show you something, okay? The AP poll is out. This is the second one of the year. Do you notice anything as you look at this top 10? I want you to look at it closely. The only team on this screen that does not play in either the SEC or the Big Ten is Notre Dame. That is remarkable. That is where we are. We basically have the AFC and the NFC and Notre Dame. That's what we're looking at in college football at the moment. Those are the best teams in the country. As far as the best players in the country, our Field Yates, 2 weeks ago, released his much too early mock draft, and he has 3 quarterbacks going in the top 10. Carson Beck, Georgia, at number 1. Shedeur Sanders, Colorado, he has him at number 4. Quinn Ewers, Texas, he has him at number 8. And if you're talking about the draft, there's only one man whose voice you must hear, and that belongs to the great Mel Kiper. So, Mel, we wanted to get into this because so many people are watching these college games now. The ratings are unbelievable, and there are many NFL fans who are watching them to figure out, all right, who's my quarterback going to be next year? As you look at this class right now, which quarterback do you have at the top?
It's between Carson Beck and Shedeur Sanders. Granny, Carson Beck was 234 on the big board coming out of high school when they ranked them, right? 22 quarterbacks were ranked ahead of Carson Beck. Look where he is now. He developed, he watched, he sat, he learned, and he's only 21 years of age. Doesn't turn 22 until November. He was at 72% last year. Completion percentage off to a good start with that strong second half against Clemson this past week. And Shedeur Sanders, 15 quarterbacks were rated ahead of Shedeur coming out of high school. He goes to Jackson State with his dad. Now he's at Colorado. They're a 7-point underdog at Lincoln against a much-improved Nebraska Cornhusker team Saturday night. That game's important in the evaluation process, but his toughness, Grandy, he held up last year, got injured late with an offensive line that was awful. That offensive line improves. Shedeur Sanders will be right there with Carson Beck, vying for that top spot at that QB1 spot going into the draft.
Now, he's shown great toughness because he gets the stuffing beat out of him on every single game. And he's still standing in there. Then let's talk about Ewers, which is the player that Field had third. When we get, and I have these conversations with you and Lewis leading up to the draft all the time, when we get into the evaluation, so often you talk about the big games against the big opponents. So what would we say about Quinn Ewers and the magnitude of this game against Michigan?
Well, it's a great defense. The Wolverines high noon kickoff at the Big House. What's better than that, Greeny? And you got 3 players. You got Will Johnson, lockdown corner, could be a top 5 pick for Michigan. Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, that interior pressure that bothers quarterbacks like no other. Those 2 kids, Grant and Mason Graham, will be top 10 picks potentially, right? And you got Quinn Ewers, consistency. A couple years ago, he's at 58%. Last year, he goes up to 69%. But early in the year, Ricey missed a couple throws. He's great against Alabama at Tuscaloosa. Leads them to an upset, 3 touchdowns, 350 yards. Next week against Wyoming, he's at 52%. After that, he's at 65% or higher in every regular season game. He was ranked coming out of high school ahead of Caleb Williams, ahead of Drake May, ahead of J.J. McCarthy. This is Quinn Ewers' year to reestablish himself as maybe QB1 by the time we get to late April.
All right, that's fascinating to me. That's 3 names that we've heard. Give us one that we haven't mentioned. Give me the quarterback who can do like Jaden Daniels did before him and others who we did not see coming, who could wind up building and turning themselves into first-round picks.
Yeah, who's that 4th-round pick in August that becomes the 2nd pick overall? Cam Ward was at Incarnate Word. Then he goes to Washington State, completes 67% of his passes. Now he's at Miami. You saw last week against Florida down at the Swamp what he's capable of. All different arm angles, that unorthodox delivery, the mobility, the roll right, roll left, and make accurate throws. This kid has no fear of throwing the football at any point on the field. He's with a team that will win 11 or 12 games and be in the playoffs. Cam Ward from Miami with the Hurricanes. Quarterbacks over the years. Look how great ones came out of that Hurricane program. Cam Ward is the next one. He could move up from that 3rd, 4th round area into the round 1.
And then one more quickie. Who's the best player in the country? Right now, number 1, Mel Kiper's favorite player in the country is?
You could make an argument 25 years ago, it was what, Champ Bailey, right? Dual play, offense, defense, right? Great corner in the NFL, Hall of Famer. Travis Hunter at Colorado. It's going to be, is he a corner? Yeah, he's a great corner. Is he a receiver? Yeah, he's great there. But hey, changing that scoreboard is going to be too tempting not to keep him on the offensive side of the ball. Travis Hunter, because the quarterbacks are going to get forced up. That's what happened when Champ Bailey came out. Quarterbacks went 1, 2, and 3. A couple running backs went ahead of him, right? Well, guess what? Travis Hunter, I think you can make an argument, Granny, is the best pure football player in this draft. He's great on offense. He's great on defense. I think when he's in the NFL early on, maybe playing both ways. But on offense, he's too spectacular, too dynamic, and he changed that scoreboard not to keep him on the offensive side of the ball for the most part.
Mel, it is great to hear your voice, and I am thrilled to be able to say that I'm going to be hearing your voice once a week, every week, along with Field Yates, that this year I'm going to be hosting the First Draft podcast with Mel and Field. This has been an invaluable resource for me as I prepared for the draft, and this year we're starting now. Rather than starting after the college football season, we will be dropping these podcasts once a week, every week on Thursdays, beginning tomorrow, and we'll be taking your questions for them. So tweet them at us using the hashtag FirstDraft. If you want to ask Mel Kiper and Field Yates a question, you will find it every Thursday on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and more.